Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how top experts sell their ideas, their value, and their services. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want better clients, bigger deals, and higher fees. Customer experience. Oh man, customer experience. You know why you're not selling more? You know why you're not selling at higher fees? Do you know why your clients are leaving sooner than they should? You know why they don't renew? You know why they don't refer? Because you're not doing customer experience right. But you are in luck today, my friends, because we have the awesome and amazing Stacy Sherman from doingcustomerexperienceright.com. And Stacy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I love that intro. Fabulous.
Feel free to use it as much as you want. And I realize I also got the website wrong, so let's correct that right now. It is actually doingcxright.com, doingcxright.com. We'll talk more about resources and links and all those wonderful things in Stacy World in a moment. To start, however, I would love to ask you to paint us a picture of your professional journey that brought you to doing the work that you're doing today, and what were some interesting pit stops along the way?
Ooh, good question. Well, so I've spent the past 25 plus years in corporate and startup companies, and I started in sales marketing, and I fell into CX, customer experience. So I was at Verizon at the time. Now, let me tell you, most people understand customer service. That's a long time, understandable practice function. And what I want to make sure people understand before I get more about my path is that customer service and customer experience are not the same thing. All right, so we can dig into that later. So I was going on my journey, and customer experience fell in my lap when I was at Verizon. My boss said, "Hey, I know you're doing marketing and sales and e-commerce, and there's this CX thing that's booming. I'm going to throw you the ball." And I'm like, "Well, what is this thing?" And he's like, "I don't know. Go figure it out." So, of course, I did. And I had multiple roles of customer experience, both in a sales organization, in new product development, and in e-commerce divisions of different companies. Well, last year, 2023, corporate left me. So I was hit, like many people in the world. It was not personal, yet I was grieving. Took me a little time, and ultimately decided, I've been speaking on stages for brands. I had my title. I was in a org box, and I was writing. I started my blog and podcast while I've been in corporate. And I decided that last year, when corporate left me, that I'm going to go on the entrepreneurial journey, which I've never done before, and really teach what I've been doing in the trenches. So I want to give one little inspirational nugget here, that people listening, make sure you're doing your passion projects, because those can turn in what I call plan B into plan me.
Very nice. I love that so much. So yes, it's so funny. We've had so many successful speakers, consultants, training company CEOs that said, I started doing this while I was getting a paycheck, right? I had a personal brand. I was building out my speaking portfolio. I was building out my relationships with all these other companies because I went to conferences. I was active in my professional trade associations. I was not just, hey, I'm in a little silo in this little company doing my own thing. They were planting seeds. And as you say, podcasting, blogging, writing, speaking, coaching, even if it's for no money, because it's not your main gig at that point when you're getting the paycheck. But boy, what a success story. I am curious for that transition. Then we'll go back into the rest of the whole customer experience magic that you do. how was it starting out? A lot of people have a rough start. So, for example, when your business card says Verizon on it, people pay attention. People return your emails. People, return your phone calls. It's like, oh, it's now little David Newman, and no one knows little David Newman, and no more Verizon on the business card. And now I'm a nobody in the wilderness. How was that transition for you going from big company to Plan Me?
Oh, do you have an hour?
I have many, many hours.
So, in short, it's a good news and sad news story. So, the good news is that I had a calling. I had to start a blog. I had no idea if anyone would read it, but I felt a calling. And luckily, people did read it and they did care about what is this CX thing? What does doing right mean? How do I do it? And so, I was giving to the world and then receiving the love back that I needed at the time. Now, unfortunately, at certain companies I worked at, they did not like that I did this at nights and weekends. And I would kind of be really frustrated because I'd say, well, a lot of people are playing golf at nights and weekends. Why do you care if I'm giving content for free? As my labor of love. So I did not get some promotions because of it. Let's be truthful here. Yet I was resilient. I was smart. I just figured out a way that there was a both and instead of an either or. And I worked at a couple different companies. The last company I worked for did embrace the Stacy Sherman, who's an influencer and a content creator and speaker, because they were smart. They knew that my brand would help their brand, but not all companies are like that. So now this year, what you're saying is very true, that it's no longer Stacy Sherman, the vice president of such and such.
Yeah.
It's Stacy Sherman alone. And what I've learned, I've read a book called The Referable Speaker, and I'm now in a 8-month, 9-month program by the author who is helping me develop my referable speech, because I'm not Oprah Winfrey. They're not buying Stacy Sherman, but they are going to buy, and they are buying what I have to say, and that referable speech that gets you stage side leads. That's the game changer for me this year.
Excellent answer. And I love that there's bad news, there's good news. So totally spot on. So let's dig in, because again, for a civilian audience, they might not know the difference between customer service and customer experience, as you referred to it a moment ago. Give us it, plain English, basic distinction for civilians. How are those two areas of business practice different?
I love the question. So thank you for digging deeper into this. So in simple terms, there is a customer journey. So how they learn, buy, salespeople, e-commerce, different ways, learn, buy, get, use, pay, get help. Get help is the part of the journey that's known as customer service. You have a problem, you go call an 800 number, there's a chat log, online chat, chat bots, chat, whatever. So what people get confused is that customer service is the whole journey, and it's not. And so companies have to design, let me repeat, design intentionally the entire holistic journey, those moments of truth where people will either continue or leave you, and worse, not even tell you.
There's a school of thought now that customer retention or client retention, but retaining your current base of clients is the new acquisition. That we're spending so much time, so much energy, so much brain power, woman power, manpower on get the next client, get the next deal, land the next contract. The folks that are in the house, already clients, already paying you, we are sacrificing the quality of their experience because we're not focused on making them happy. We're not focused on getting them results. We're not focused on getting them client success or customer success. There's a whole different subset, right? Is the customer success managers and the client success managers out there. So talk a little bit about that blind spot that companies will spend endless amounts of money on sales training and Facebook ads and Google and YouTube and TikTok and every form of advertising, marketing, and sales. And they underspend on the customer experience of the people that are already buying and are already in the house.
New is sexy. New is exciting. Luring them with offers and promotions is easy. Staying in love is hard. And what a missed opportunity. One of the things that I recommend is talking to your customers, your existing base, and not just in transactional moments. They just bought in the store and they get a receipt. Call this 800 number and give us a, rating. But more importantly, some companies have long-term contracts. And what an opportunity, not just when the contract's going to end, but like a year before. How's the relationship going? And they miss that opportunity. They also miss the opportunity when you are surveying or asking your customers at any point, how are we doing? And they say, I love you. We're a net promoter. And most companies say, oh, good, thank you. Okay, bye-bye. No, activate them.
I want to dig into a little peculiar situation that maybe you have some insight on and maybe not. So feel free, we can move on if this is not something that's juicy and relevant. There are a lot of professional services firms, whether it's law firm, accounting firm, consulting firm, where, because you mentioned the silent departure, right? So they're in a years-long relationship and they perhaps have not paid as much attention to this customer experience, client experience thing. And then folks, they start to have an exodus. They start to have a lot of churn and a lot of turnover. Are there practices that, sometimes you can recover those people, sometimes you can't, but where are the invisible holes in the boat that we need to fill those holes, fill that leaky bucket? Otherwise, the problem's going to continue and get worse with churn and client turnover.
So of thousands and thousands of surveys that I've read in the different companies I've been at, and there was no AI at those times, including even earlier last year, that it wasn't prevalent in companies. The number one issue that people are leaving brands, both as an employee and as a customer, the number one reason, communication. And communication breakdowns, that's in our control. So that's the good news, people. Yeah. Now, what do you do about that? Well, you bring stakeholders, your sales team, your HR team, your marketing team, your legal team, your customer service team. Every stakeholder needs to come together in a room and literally walk through the customer journey and understand the domino effect, because silos are prevalent and real in every company I've ever worked with or for. So now you get to come together. And if we just took communication alone and mapped out, how does the customer receive your information, from whom, when, and how, you will clearly see that there is the gaps. And then those are the ones that you can go fix. Now, caution. A lot of times, companies will use just the employee feedback to address the issues and collect feedback. You can't do that. You actually have to design the journey and then go validate it with real customers. How we communicate with you, is that how you want to be communicated? We offer you an 800 number. Would you prefer chat? Would you prefer someone call you or go to a salesperson reach out to you instead? How do you feel about an AI starting a conversation with you? If you don't ask the customer, you're flying blind.
Yeah, it's a great point for sure. Let me go to another topic, which is onboarding. A lot of people think onboarding is and again, it could be client onboarding, team onboarding, but client onboarding is my first question here. That initial experience, some companies go, yeah, we send them some forms, we send them some questionnaires, we have a kickoff meeting, blah, 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 blah. That client then leaves 9 months later, 18 months later, a year later. And the reason that they left is because of a germ or a bad seed was planted, a bad feeling was planted during that onboarding. They don't care. They don't get me. They don't understand. They're making me fill out yet another form. This is impersonal. I don't feel empathy. I don't feel connection. Now that negative first impression, if there is a negative first impression during onboarding, you can make up for that, but you can't make up for it if you're not aware of it. And then it multiplies, and then it gets worse. And then depending on the type of business model that you have, let's say that there's a customer forum, let's say that there's a message board where you can, log service requests, they will then start complaining in public, in your backyard, about their negative experience with your company. 10, 20, 100, 500 other customers see that and they go, oh, well, I didn't have that experience, but gosh, that sounds terrible. Maybe this isn't the right company. Maybe this isn't the right group that I should be associated with. So this ripple effect of ignoring the onboarding experience and having it multiply in a negative direction, it's the silent killer of revenue, I think, in a lot of companies. Talk about onboarding done right, onboarding done wrong, and some things that might even be invisible under the surface, dangerous rocks in onboarding that most companies don't even think about.
Yeah, onboarding is so essential. And by the way, so is offboarding too. Different topic.
Yeah.
Onboarding, so from a client perspective, it's good to have some protocols on this is the way to do it. The reality is people across the organization don't all have the same sheet music. So the client is getting a different experience depending who they're talking to. Problem one. Two is oftentimes it's a cookie cutter approach. It's almost like reading from a script. No, can't do that.
Bad idea.
Bad idea. Personalization is key. Third of all, I believe that, again, the silos hurt companies to deliver customer excellence. And then again, the companies that are doing onboarding right fall short of consistency after that 90 days. And that's a really big problem. There's a company I worked for in the elevator industry. Now, I never thought I'd be in elevator business.
You know what? It really has its ups and downs.
Never heard that before.
I'm sure you have not.
Never heard that before. In fact, by the way, the funniest thing about working in an elevator industry is that people used to send me selfies of that they'd be in the elevator of the brand I'm working for. And they're sending me thinking of you in the elevator from like all different vacations and whatever. So not pictures of their kids, but in elevators.
Of course.
So when there's different parts of a business, so you have new installation to then maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay. They're different departments and each one has its own onboarding and transition. They're different teams. So I want people to understand that onboarding is not a one-time thing. And the transition from your different interaction points in your company have to be seamless. And many don't realize that.
Yeah. I know you have a new book coming out, and there's another term that the book is about that many people don't understand. Again, civilians, which is the customer journey or customer journey mapping. Talk a little bit about what that is, and then let's dig into your take on it that is in this new fabulous book.
Thank you for that. So, journey mapping is not new. Many people do understand that you can design, as I talked about, the learn, buy, get, use, pay, etc. What is new and what I'm shedding light on with the co-author is journey management. Because journey management is not just your client. It's your partners. It's your workforce. It is your client. It's your interns. It's the holistic ecosystem. And so really understanding the experience and designing it from an omni-channel perspective is the new way. And it's not just client journey, but it's all the factors involved because it all has to work together. Yeah. And companies fall short on that. And I want to just give an example. Let's say I'm buying I'm looking around my desk here. Let's say I'm buying even Apple's AirPods. Now, I know they would do it right, but let's pretend. Let's pretend. So I learn about it from marketing or maybe a salesperson or a referral, word of mouth. I learn about it. Great. And the company's actually designing where I'm going to learn about it very intentionally. Trade shows, ads, etc. So I learn about it. I go and buy it at the store. I choose at the store instead of e-commerce. I get it. I set it up. It's easy. I use it. No problem. Billing. It's wrong. I can't get it resolved. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. No one's helping me. Guess what? I'm probably going to return them. I'm going to tell others. And it doesn't matter that the rest of the journey was fabulous. So every point of interaction has to be intentionally designed with customer centricity and designed, but validated with customers that it's meeting real needs. And it's the omni-channel. When I say omni-channel, it's important to understand that because recently I bought an item online. It didn't fit. I went to the local store and they wouldn't take it back. They said, you have to return it online. And I said, what do you mean? I just drove here, took time. You're one company. They said, I know, I'm sorry, but we can't take it back. You bought it from the e-commerce store. And I just was so angry. I'm like, you're one company. And so, look, they're just the messengers, but that's not designed for the customer.
Hang on. Let's back up the truck. Beep, 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 beep. Listen, I have a brand new sales book out there. You got to get your hands on it. It is awesome. It is amazing. It is fantastic. It is useful, practical, actionable, and a ton of bonuses are waiting for you over at doitselling.com. Grab your copy right now and grab all the bonuses, goodies, companion tools, and downloads that go with the book. You'll love it. I guarantee it.
Let's talk about this role of a client success manager or customer success manager, which really, in my experience, was not really a thing until a few years ago. And now they're popping up like mushrooms. Every company, every consulting firm, every SaaS company. And I guess it started really with the tech companies, is that they wanted to have client success managers to make sure that the customers and clients are implementing the technology, smoothing out, ironing out problems, compatibility, whatever, making sure that there's usage, right? Consumption, so that they're paying for, usually if it's a SaaS company, they're paying a monthly subscription of, many hundreds or many thousands of dollars per month. And if they don't use it, they're going to drop it, they're going to quit. What is the role of the smart role, doing it right, of the client success manager / customer success manager, because it's not just a happy smiling face, right? It's not just a cheerleader. It's a lot more than that. What's your advice to the client success, customer success managers out there?
So number one, responsiveness is key. It is so important. It goes back to the communication.
Yeah.
So when your client is having a problem, deliver on that promise and follow up and make sure that that pain point, whatever it is resolved in a timely fashion. I'd also say that make sure you're putting the right people as your company facing headcount, talent, because there's a company I worked with when I was on the brand side, and I love the company, great service, but my account manager, client success manager was awful. Did not follow up, did not know my business, couldn't answer questions, always had to get back to me, sometimes got back to me, and was never proactive, always reactive. So I went to the company higher up and I said, listen, I don't always do this. I'm giving you the gift to let you know that I make the decision of whether we continue to buy your service or not. And right now, I might not. I probably won't. I will go to a competitor because I don't feel that the person you assigned to my account is good. And for these reasons. And they were smart. They shifted the person out. But I want people to understand how much your front-facing talent makes or breaks your company. And so communication is key, proactive is key, personalization, non-negotiable.
Love those. Absolutely. I am hoping, Stacy, that you can help me solve a big, big puzzle and a big, big mystery, which is loyal, successful clients who never, ever, ever give a referral. They will stay with you for years. They are genuinely happy. They are genuinely getting amazing results from whatever it is that your company is doing or selling to them. Always 10 out of 10 on the Net Promoter Score. And for folks that don't know, the Net Promoter Score is simply how likely are you to recommend our service or product to a friend. And they say 10, but they never do. So what is up with the long-standing, loyal customers who never refer? What are some gaps or blind spots that we're not seeing that might be causing that lack of referrals?
So one answer is very, very common for enterprise accounts, which is they don't want their competitors to know who they're using. It's just the truth. So it doesn't help the company providing the service, yet that is their reality. They don't want their logo on your website. They don't want to even share any secrets. They don't want their competitors using. Now, does it mean that at a cocktail party, they're saying, hey, I got a company I got to tell you about? Because people are people and people are generally good and love to share. So back of the napkin, they might write something, but you won't know.
Is there anything that we can do that would stimulate that referral? And again, I know that refer is kind of towards the back end of that customer journey management, but what customer journey management tools are there to stimulate more proactive referrals from maybe people who are not, afraid to open the kimono and let the world know who they're using, or they're not afraid to kind of share and recommend and refer, because referrals are like free sales, right? It's a vastly, vastly superior to any other kind of lead, any other prospect is the prospect that was referred by a happy current customer. What else can we do to stimulate more referrals?
So this is going to sound very mundane, but it's truthful. Ask. So many people don't ask. And to quote my mom in life, if you don't ask, the answer is definitely no.
For sure. So that's step one is, have you been asking? And I'm guessing 80% of the folks listening, it's like, no, they should just do this on their own. Which brings me to another topic, not just with referrals. A lot of the customer experience, client experience disconnects come from unarticulated expectations that clients have, or unasked questions that they don't ask and they just figure should be magically provided. What can we do as a brand, as a firm, to surface and uncover these unarticulated expectations and these unasked questions so they don't come back to bite us in the butt?
Yeah, well, first, I would tell everyone listening, not only do you have a customer experience job, whether you're CEO or intern, you also have a communication job. Don't wait for just the communication department. And it is so important in the onboarding stage, in the contract stage, that you do set the expectations. And silence is a message. And you get to set the expectation up front. And I've had a situation recently where I was buying something and there was something purposely omitted from the conversation. And so I bought it. I'm now engaged in the service. And I've been wondering, this isn't what I thought. So then I went back to the leaders and I said, I'm having a problem with this. This was not apparent to me. I mean, I'm still getting a lot of value, but it's not meeting my expectation. And the answer was, well, this is the way it is. But they had a big miss. And I heard someone else say the same question. So it must be intentional that they're not transparent because people might not have bought. And in the end, it will affect my referral. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's great. It really all ties back to communication and not, people, I think folks listening to us right now, they think communication is talking to customers. It's really about asking and listening. It's not about, we have a big communication. We have to send out press releases and videos and content. It's like, no, much of this is around asking and genuinely listening to the feedback. So I just want to make that clear. And I'm guessing, Stacy, that's what you mean by communicating. It's not just a one-way data dump. It is asking, engaging, listening, and listening with empathy.
Yes. And when we talk about listening, I want people to understand that listening is not just the conversation like this. Listening also is your multi-sources of feedback. It is your social media conversations, that's unstructured data. It is what people fill out on your contact form, the questions they're asking and the problems they're suggesting and asking. It is what your customer service team is saying to the customers and what they're calling about. That's a wealth of gold of information. So I want people to realize it's not just I did a survey and there's my feedback.
Yeah.
It's multi-sources. You need to aggregate it, centralize it, and prioritize so it feeds your strategies.
Yes, I know. Terrific episode here, but have you seen our latest web training? Oh my goodness, pop over there right now, or as soon as you're done listening to this episode, it's doitmarketing.com/webinar. See you over there. Back to the good stuff.
Well, I know that you have several cool new technologies, tools, platforms that people might not know about. What is out there right now to enhance customer experience and client experience as far as some of that cool new technology platforms, modes of communicating?
One of my favorites is using AI simulation. What I mean by that is there's some platforms, one in particular, that you can practice before you talk to a real customer. So whether you're a salesperson or you're a contact center agent, you can actually talk to the simulation as if it was a real human being. It's that smart. And it could be chat or human. It will then grade you how well you did. You can practice over and over again. The information can be shielded from your boss. And then when you're ready for your boss to see your performance, you can then share it. But you can practice in a very psychologically safe way in that nesting stage before you talk to a real customer. And I think that's an awesome use of AI.
How about that? Can you share the name of that platform?
There's a couple. I would say people should contact me and I'll give them kind of the studies that I've been doing.
Excellent. Very, very nice. Well, as we're landing the plane, I've got two final questions for you. The first question is, if folks were to take one big concept away from our whole conversation here, what would you hope that one big takeaway concept should be?
You have a customer experience job regardless of job function and title.
Period. Boom. Mic drop. Absolutely. Second question is, I know folks are going to want to get connected and stay connected to more Stacy Sherman brilliance. Where can we send them? What links, what resources can we drop into the show notes?
Well, thank you for that. And I welcome feedback. I welcome conversation. So doingcxright.com is where there's a ton of free resources, my podcast by the same name, my blog, tons of resources, and then obviously working with me to help you in your business to make sure that you are doing CX right and where those gaps are, and simple, in your control, fixable things. I also have some LinkedIn learning courses that are free if you're a LinkedIn premium member. And if not, I have some codes that all about driving customer loyalty by doing frontline experience right. And very active on LinkedIn. I'm on all the social channels, but LinkedIn pretty much every day I'm sharing golden nuggets.
Awesome. So all of those items, all of those links and resources will be directly under this episode at thesellingshow.com. Stacy Sherman, you are a rock star. What a pleasure. What a privilege. I am so glad that you shared all of these value bombs with us. And we have to have you back. We just scratched the surface of so many of these very, very important topics. And I can't wait to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And that wraps up another episode of The Selling Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, tell a friend, go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thesellingshow.com. See you next time.